My son told me, "Don't call me anymore. I'm tired of you and your constant needs." I said nothing. 2 months later, when he called begging for money, I said, "I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, I don't have a son." Then I hung up. I'm Keisha Patterson, and I want to tell you my story. If you're listening from somewhere far away, drop your city in the comments so I can see how far this has traveled. And please stay with me until the end, because what happened after that phone call changed my life in ways I never could have imagined. It was a Tuesday afternoon in May when my world tilted on its axis. I was in my kitchen in Cincinnati, the same kitchen where I'd made thousands of meals for my son Andre over the years. The afternoon sun was streaming through the window, catching dust motes in the air, and I was washing dishes when my phone rang. Andre's name flashed on the screen. My heart did that little leap it always did when he called. Even at 63, even after everything, I was still his mother. That never changes. "Baby," I answered, already smiling. "I was just thinking about you. I made your favorite pot roast yesterday, and I have leftovers if you and Jasmine want to." "Ma!" His voice cut through my words like a knife through butter. Cold. Sharp. "Ma, we need to talk." Something in his tone made my hands still in the soapy water. "What's wrong?" "Is everything okay? Is Jasmine?" "Everything's fine, but I need you to listen to me right now." He took a breath and I heard traffic in the background. He was in his car. "I can't keep doing this." "Doing what, baby?" "This. You calling me 3-4 times a week, texting me every day, asking when we're coming over, needing me to be available all the time for every little thing." I felt my chest tighten. "Andre, I like hearing your voice. Is that so wrong?" "It's not about right or wrong, Ma. It's about boundaries. I have a life. I have a wife. I have responsibilities. And I can't be your emotional support system 24/7. The words hit me like a slap. "Emotional support, Andre. I'm your mother. I just want to be part of your life." "And that's the problem." His voice rose, frustrated. "You want too much. You always have. Ever since Dad left, it's like I became your whole world. And I'm tired of it, Ma. I'm tired of feeling guilty every time I don't answer your calls. I'm tired of you and your constant needs." "My needs?" I whispered. "What needs have I ever—" The line went dead. I stood there, phone pressed to my ear, listening to silence. My hands were shaking. Soapy water dripped onto the linoleum floor I'd mopped that morning, thinking maybe Andre would visit this week. He hadn't visited in 2 months, but I kept hoping. I looked at the pot roast in my refrigerator, the one I'd made for him. The same recipe I'd been making since he was 7 years old, the year his father walked out on us. And for the first time in 35 years of being Andre's mother, I wondered, had I been blind this entire time I didn't sleep that night? I kept replaying the conversation, picking apart every word. Your constant needs. What needs? I was the one who'd given and given and given. But maybe he was right. Maybe I had been too much. The next morning, exhausted and confused, I did something I'd been avoiding for months. I pulled out my bank statements. I'm not one of those people who lives on their phone checking their balance every day. I'm old school. I get paper statements and I file them away. But I hadn't really looked at them, really looked in a long time. I spread them across my dining room table and started going through them. 5 years' worth. The pattern emerged like a photograph developing in a dark room. Slowly then, all at once, undeniable. November 2020, transfer to Andre Patterson, $15,000. His note, "For house down payment, Ma. Just a loan. I'll pay you back when I get my promotion. I promise." I remembered that conversation. He'd been so excited. He and Jasmine had found a little house in Norwood, and they needed help with the down payment. What kind of mother wouldn't help her son buy his first home? The promotion never came. The repayment never came. March 2021, transfer to Andre Patterson, $8,000. His note, emergency. Jasmine's in the hospital. Medical bills. I'd worked double shifts that month at Cincinnati General, even though my feet ached and my back screamed. I was 60 years old, and I was still pulling 12-hour shifts because my son's wife needed surgery. Except 3 weeks later, I'd seen Jasmine's Instagram. Photos from Cancun. Her and Andre on a beach, drinks in hand, caption, "Much-needed getaway." I'd told myself there must be an explanation. Maybe it was a delayed honeymoon. Maybe the medical thing had been minor. Maybe I was being paranoid. July 2021. Transfer to Andre Patterson, $4,000. Note car repairs, transmission. October 2021. Transfer to Andre Patterson, $3,500. Note furniture for the baby's room. My heart had soared at that one. A grandchild. Finally. 3 weeks later, Andre called to tell me Jasmine had miscarried. I'd cried for hours, sent flowers, made her favorite soup and drove it over. She hadn't answered the door. Andre had taken the soup at the doorstep and said, "Thanks, Ma. She's not up for visitors." I never did see that nursery. February 2022. Transfer to Andre Patterson, $12,000. Note credit cards. We got in over our heads, just this once. May 2022. Transfer to Andre Patterson, $9,000. Note legal fees. Can't explain right now. He never did explain. The list went on and on. Rent, utilities, emergency groceries, car insurance, a laptop, medical bills, vet bills for a dog I'd never met. I pulled out my calculator with trembling hands. $67,000. In 5 years, I had given my son $67,000. I sat back in my chair staring at that number. That was nearly 2 years of my pension. That was the trip to New Orleans I'd always dreamed of, but never taken. That was the new roof my house desperately needed. That was my retirement security flowing out like water through my fingers. And what had I gotten back? I pulled out my phone and scrolled through our text history. It told another story, one I'd been too close to see. The pattern was always the same. Weeks of silence. Then a text. "Hey Ma, you busy?" Followed within 10 minutes by the ask. When was the last time Andre had called just to talk? When was the last time he'd asked about me? I scrolled back further. Last Christmas. I'd invited them for dinner. They'd canceled at the last minute. Jasmine's family needs us. I'd eaten ham alone, watching old movies, telling myself it was fine. Young couples needed to balance both families. My birthday in March. No call, no visit. I'd sent them a text. Just wanted to thank you for the beautiful day God gave me 63 years ago. Andre's response 3 days later. Happy birthday. That was it. 2 words. But I'd sent them a $500 gift card for their anniversary 2 weeks later. I kept scrolling, my chest getting tighter with each swipe. Last September, I'd broken my wrist. A stupid fall in the grocery store parking lot. I'd called Andre from the emergency room scared and alone. "Ma, I'm at work. Can't you call Mrs. Dorothy?" Dorothy, my best friend. She'd come. She'd stayed with me through 6 weeks of recovery. She'd helped me dress. She'd driven me to appointments. She'd been there. Andre had texted once, "How's the wrist?" But 2 weeks after my fall, while I was still struggling to open jars and button my own shirts, he'd called. "Ma, I hate to ask, but our car broke down. We need $4,000 for a new transmission." I'd said yes. Sitting at my dining table, surrounded by the evidence of my own foolishness, I started to cry. Not gentle tears, but the kind of crying that comes from somewhere deep in your soul, the place where you keep the truths you're too afraid to face. I hadn't been a mother to Andre. I'd been an ATM machine, and I'd taught him to treat me that way. I didn't call Andre back. Not that day, not the next week. Dorothy came over on Thursday with sweet tea and the kind of directness that only a 40-year friendship can afford. "Girl, you look terrible," she said, settling into my kitchen chair. "What's going on?" I told her everything. The phone call, the bank statements, the numbers that wouldn't stop swimming in my head. Dorothy was quiet for a long time. Then she reached across the table and took my hand. "Keisha, honey, what are you going to do?" "I don't know," I whispered. "He's my son. He's also a 35-year-old man who's been using you. But what if he really needed $67,000? Dorothy's voice was gentle but firm. "Baby, that's not need. That's habit. And you taught him that habit." The words stung because they were true. "I just wanted to be a good mother," I said. After Marcus left, after I raised Andre alone, I promised myself he'd never want for anything, that he'd never feel abandoned like I felt abandoned. And look what that got you. A son who told you not to call anymore. I pulled my hand back defensive. He was stressed. He didn't mean Keisha. Dorothy's eyes were kind but unflinching. "Stop making excuses for him. When was the last time he was there for you?" "Really there." I opened my mouth. Closed it. Couldn't answer. Dorothy stood up, kissed my forehead. "Take some time. Think about what you need. Not what he needs. What you need." After she left, I sat in my house, the house I'd worked double shifts to keep the house I'd raised Andre in the house that suddenly felt too big and too quiet. What did I need? I needed to not check my phone every 5 minutes hoping he'd called. I needed to stop making excuses for a grown man. I needed to figure out who Keisha Patterson was when she wasn't being Andre's mother. So I started there. I went to a book club meeting at the Cincinnati Public Library. I'd been invited dozens of times by a woman named Gloria who volunteered at the hospital, but I'd always said no. What if Andre called? What if he needed me? Now I went. 6 women all around my age sitting in a circle discussing the Midnight Library. They welcomed me like I'd always been there. First rule of book club, Gloria said with a wink. What's said here stays here. They went around sharing updates. Rose's daughter had just had a baby. Helen's hip replacement was healing well. A woman named Patricia mentioned her practice was getting busy. She was an attorney specializing in elder law. When they got to me, I found myself saying, "My son told me not to call him anymore." The words hung in the air. Then Helen said quietly, "My daughter did the same thing to me, 5 years ago." I looked at her. "What did you do?" I stopped calling. And you know what? After about a year, she came back. Not for money, just to talk. We have a relationship now. Different, healthier, but I had to let her fall first. "What if he doesn't come back?" I whispered. Gloria leaned forward. "Then, honey, you'll know where you stood all along, and that's information worth having." By mid-July, I'd established a routine. Book club on Wednesdays, volunteering at the animal shelter on Saturdays. I'd even fostered an elderly dog named Duke who reminded me of myself, a little weathered, a little lonely, but still had some love to give. My phone stayed mostly silent. A few texts from Dorothy, updates from the book club group chat. Nothing from Andre. It hurt. God, it hurt. But it also felt like breathing. Like I'd been holding my breath for 35 years and I was finally letting it out. I started journaling, writing letters I'd never send. "Dear Andre, I love you. I always will. But I can't keep paying to be loved back. Your mother, I never mailed it. But writing it helped." It was a Tuesday evening exactly 9 weeks after Andre had told me not to call. I was making dinner just for me, something I was learning to enjoy when my phone rang. Andre's name. My hand hovered over it. Every instinct screamed to answer. He was my baby, my only child. But I thought about the bank statements, about the pattern, about Dorothy's question. "When was the last time he was there for you?" I answered. "Ma, thank God." Andre's voice was breathless, panicked. "Ma, we're in serious trouble. The landlord's threatening to evict us. We need $2,000 by Friday, or we're on the street. Can you transfer it today?" No hello, no how have you been, no acknowledgement of 9 weeks of silence, just we need. And in that moment, something inside me, something that had been bending and bending for 35 years, finally snapped. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice calmer than I'd ever heard it. "Who is this, Ma? What are you—" "I don't have a son who tells his mother not to call, so I'm sorry, but you must have the wrong number." "Ma, don't do this. We really need—" I hung up. My hands weren't shaking. My heart wasn't racing. Instead, I felt something crystallizing inside me, something cold and clear and sharp. The phone rang again, and again, and again. I turned it off. Then I opened my laptop and pulled up my bank account. The one Andre didn't know I'd been reviewing. The one I'd been studying every night for 9 weeks. But this time I looked at something different. I clicked on the Login History tab at the bottom of the screen. And that's when I found it. The thing that changed everything. Authorized users, Andre Patterson, last login July 18th, 2023, 9:47 p.m. I clicked further. The full history loaded. Andre had logged into my bank account 47 times in the past year. 47 times. I scrolled through the dates. Every single one was within 3 days of my pension deposit. He'd been tracking my account, watching my balance, timing his requests for when he knew I had money. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen. This wasn't just a son asking his mother for help. This was hunting, and I had been the prey. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that number. 47 logins. 47 times my son had accessed my bank account, watching my money like a hawk watching a field mouse. By the time the sun came up Wednesday morning, I'd made my decision. Dorothy arrived at 8 o'clock sharp. I'd called her at 6 and she'd simply said, "I'll be there. We're fixing this." "You ready?" she asked as I locked my front door. "No," I said honestly. "But I'm doing it anyway." The Fifth Third Bank on Madison Avenue opened at 9. We were the first ones through the door. The banker, a young woman named Jessica, who'd helped me open my savings account years ago, smiled as I sat down. "Mrs. Patterson, how can I help you today?" I took a breath. "I need to remove my son from all my accounts, checking savings, everything, and I need to make sure no one but me can access them ever again." Jessica's smile faltered. "Oh, is everything all right?" "It will be," I said. The process took an hour. New account numbers, new passwords, new PIN codes, security questions that only I knew the answers to. Jessica explained that Andre would receive a notification letter within 5 business days, but until then, technically he could still access the old accounts. "I'm flagging everything," Jessica said quietly. "If there's any unusual activity before the letter arrives, we'll contact you immediately." As we stood to leave, Jessica touched my arm. "Mrs. Patterson, my mother had to do this same thing. With my brother. It's hard, but you're protecting yourself. That's not wrong." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Our next stop was the office building on Vine Street. Rebecca Williams, attorney at law, specialized in elder law. Patricia from book club had recommended her making the appointment before I'd even asked. Rebecca was in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor that reminded me of Dorothy. She listened as I explained everything: the bank statements, the phone call, the login history. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. "Mrs. Patterson, Keisha, please." "Keisha, what you're describing is textbook financial exploitation. It's more common than people think, and yes, it happens frequently with adult children." She pulled out a notepad. "We need to protect you on multiple fronts. First, we update your will. Remove Andre as beneficiary. Second, we establish a power of attorney that explicitly excludes him." "Third, a power of attorney," I interrupted. "Isn't that for when you're incapacitated?" "Exactly. Right now, if something happened to you, Andre could potentially claim authority over your medical and financial decisions. We need to prevent that." The reality of what she was saying hit me. I wasn't just protecting my money. I was protecting my entire future from my own son. "There's one more thing," Rebecca continued, pulling out a document. "This is a cease and desist letter. If Andre or his wife escalate, and Keisha, they probably will, this puts them on formal notice that harassment will result in legal action." "Legal action against my own son," I whispered. Rebecca's voice was gentle but firm. "Legal action against someone who's been exploiting you for years. There's a difference." I signed the papers. All of them. As Dorothy and I walked back to her car, I felt something strange. Not relief exactly. Not peace. But something close to it. Power. I felt powerful. I turned my phone back on during the drive home. 58 notifications. "Girl, don't look at those now," Dorothy warned. "Wait till you get home, get settled." But I was already opening them. I needed to see. Needed to know what I was dealing with. The progression told a story all by itself. Messages 1-8, Tuesday night right after I hung up. "Andre Ma, what the hell, Andre? This isn't funny. Call me back. Andre Ma, we're serious. We're about to be homeless. Andre, fine. Don't answer. But this is on you." Messages 9:15, Wednesday morning. "Andre Ma, I don't understand what's happening. Did I do something wrong, Andre? Please just talk to me. You're scaring me, Andre. Whatever I did, I'm sorry. Can we please just talk?" These were the ones that hurt. The ones that made me question myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe he really didn't understand. But then I remembered 47 logins. Messages, 16:30, Wednesday afternoon. "Jasmine. Hi, Miss Keisha. This is Jasmine. I don't know what's going on between you and Andre, but we really do need help. The eviction is real. Please call us back. Andre Ma, Jasmine tried calling you. Why are you doing this? Jasmine, Miss Keisha. We've always been there for you. Remember last year when you were sick? We checked on you." I stopped reading. Checked on me. They'd come over once, stayed 15 minutes, and asked for $500 to help with my medicine. I never saw any medicine, and they never came back. Messages 31:45, Thursday morning. The tone shifted here. The pleading turned to accusations. "Andre, you know what, I get it now. You're punishing me for what I said." Real mature Ma. "Jasmine, You're playing games with people's lives. Do you understand that, Andre? I worked my whole life, and this is how you treat me. After everything, Jasmine. We've always been there for you. Every time you called lonely, every time you needed something, we showed up. I laughed at that. A bitter, hollow sound. When had they shown up? When had they been there? Messages, 46:52, Thursday afternoon, Andre, fine. You want to be that way? Fine. Jasmine, you're a bitter, selfish woman. Andre only stayed in touch with you because I told him to. I sat up straighter reading that one again. Jasmine, he wanted to cut you off years ago. After his dad left, he said you were clingy and suffocating. But I said family is family. I made him keep calling you, keep visiting. And this is how you repay us. Dorothy, who'd been reading over my shoulder, inhaled sharply. Oh, Keisha. But I wasn't crying. I was staring at those words, feeling something crystallize inside me. He wanted to cut you off years ago. I made him keep calling you. They'd kept me around for my money. Jasmine had just admitted it in writing. I took a screenshot. Messages, 53:58, Friday morning. Jasmine, you should be grateful. We even bothered with you. Do you know how many times Andre wanted to just walk away? But I reminded him you're his mother, that you needed him. Andre, don't come crying to us when you're old and alone and need someone to take care of you. Jasmine, we're done. You hear me? Done. Andre, hope you're happy. You just lost your only family. The last message had come in at 7:42 a.m. Andre, we know where you live. We're coming over today to talk sense into you. I forwarded that one to Rebecca immediately. Her response came back in 3 minutes. If they show up and refuse to leave, call 911. I'm drafting the cease and desist now. Do not let them in your house. They arrived at 2:30 on Friday afternoon. I saw Andre's beat-up Honda pull into my driveway and felt my heart start to race. Dorothy was in my living room. I'd asked her to come as a witness, as Rebecca had suggested. My phone was in my pocket, 911 ready to dial. Through my front window, I watched them get out of the car. Andre looked terrible, unshaven, wearing stained sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt. He'd lost weight, his face gaunt and hollow. For a moment, I saw him as a little boy again, crying in my lap after his father left. Then Jasmine stepped out of the passenger side, and the moment passed. She was dressed in business casual slacks and a crisp blouse, her blonde hair pulled back in a tight ponytail. She looked composed, in control. She put her hand on Andre's arm, steering him toward my door. The doorbell rang, then pounding. Ma, open up, we need to talk. I opened the door, but kept the chain lock engaged. Just enough to see them, not enough for them to push through. Hello, Andre. His face was red angry. What the hell is this about? Why are you ignoring us? I'm not ignoring you. I told you on the phone. I don't have a son who speaks to his mother the way you did. That was, he sputtered. I was stressed. I didn't mean it. You're really going to hold that against me? Jasmine pushed forward, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. Miss Keisha, please. Can we just come inside and talk like adults? No, I said simply. No. Jasmine's mask slipped for just a second. We're family. Are we? I kept my voice level. When was the last time either of you visited me without needing money? Andre's voice rose. That's not fair. We're busy. We have lives. You can't expect us to drop everything for you all the time. I'm not asking you to drop everything for me, I said. I'm asking you to treat me like a human being instead of an ATM. Oh, here we go. Jasmine rolled her eyes. The victim act. You gave us money because you wanted to. We never forced you. I pulled out my phone and read from the screenshot. You should be grateful we even bothered with you. Andre wanted to cut you off years ago. I looked up at Jasmine. You wrote that yesterday. The color drained from her face. Get off my property, Andre suddenly shouted. This is harassment. This is my property, Andre. You're the ones who need to leave. You can't do this. His voice cracked, and I heard the desperation underneath. Ma, we're going to get evicted. We have nowhere to go. What kind of mother? What kind of son, I interrupted, tells his mother not to call him, then calls 2 months later demanding money? Jasmine's face twisted into something ugly. You selfish bitch. You're sitting in this house alone with all your pension money while your own son is about to be homeless. You should be ashamed. I'm not ashamed, I said quietly. Not anymore. We could sue you, Jasmine shrieked. Elder abuse. You promised to help us. We have records. Actually, I said, I've been documenting everything. including the text where you admitted Andre only stayed in touch because you told him to, including the $67,000 I've given you over 5 years with zero repayment. My attorney would be very interested in your lawsuit." The word attorney landed like a bomb. You got a lawyer?" Andre's voice was barely a whisper. "To do what, sue your own son?" "To protect myself from being exploited." Jasmine grabbed Andre's arm. "Come on, we're wasting our time with this crazy old woman. Let her rot here alone." But Andre was staring at me with something I couldn't quite read. Shock, betrayal, and underneath it all, maybe just maybe the beginning of understanding. For a moment I saw my little boy, the one who used to climb into my lap when he had nightmares, the one who made me Mother's Day cards with crooked hearts drawn in crayon. Then Jasmine yanked him away and he followed her. "You'll regret this," Jasmine shouted from the driveway. "When you're dying alone with no one to visit you, you'll remember this." They drove off, tires squealing. I closed the door and slid down against it, my legs finally giving out. Dorothy rushed over, wrapping her arms around me. "You did it, honey. You stood your ground." I had. I'd actually done it. And it felt like dying and being born at the same time. Rebecca called that afternoon. "Keisha, I did some digging. I have a contact in law enforcement, and I asked him to run a background check just to be safe, given the escalation we're seeing." "Okay," I said, not sure where this was going. Jasmine Reed. "That's Andre's wife, correct?" "Yes." Rebecca paused. "Keisha, she has a record. Identity theft and credit card fraud. Convicted 8 years ago in Florida. She served 18 months probation." The room tilted. "What, Mom?" "Before Andre, she was involved with 2 other men. Both relationships ended when financial discrepancies were discovered. One filed a police report but later dropped it. The pattern is the same every time gain access to finances, accumulate debt, move on." My mouth was dry. "Does Andre know?" "I doubt it. It's public record, but you'd have to know to look for it." Rebecca's voice grew more serious. "Keisha, I need to ask you something. Did you ever give Andre access to your social security number?" "Any important documents?" I thought back. "He has a copy of my driver's license from a few years ago when he was helping me with insurance paperwork." "We need to pull your credit report right now." 20 minutes later, I was staring at my computer screen at a credit report that made my blood run cold. 3 credit cards I'd never opened. All opened within the last 18 months. Total balance, $51,000. All with charges at stores near Andre and Jasmine's apartment in Norwood. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the mouse. "Rebecca," I whispered into the phone. "What do I do?" "You file a police report. Tonight. This is fraud, Keisha. This is a crime. My son, my baby boy. The child I'd carried for 9 months, nursed, raised, loved with every fiber of my being. He'd stolen my identity. And that's when I finally broke down and cried. The police report took 3 hours. Detective Morris from the Cincinnati Police Department's Financial Crimes Unit was patient and thorough, walking me through every fraudulent charge, every fake signature, every lie that had been built on top of my identity. "Mrs. Patterson," he said as we finished, "I want you to understand this investigation will likely lead to criminal charges against your son and his wife. Are you prepared for that?" I looked at the stack of papers on my kitchen table. Evidence, proof, the undeniable truth that my son had been stealing from me. "Yes," I said, "I'm prepared." That was on a Saturday. By Monday morning, I'd almost convinced myself that maybe, just maybe, we could resolve this quietly. Maybe Andre didn't know what Jasmine was doing. Maybe if I just talked to him. The phone rang at 9:47 a.m. Unknown number. "Mrs. Patterson, this is Sarah Mitchell from Hamilton County Adult Protective Services. I'm calling regarding a concern that's been brought to our attention about your welfare." My stomach dropped. "What kind of concern?" "We received a report from your son Andre Patterson expressing worry that you may be experiencing cognitive decline and making unsafe financial decisions. He's requested a welfare check to ensure you're not being taken advantage of." I sat down hard in my kitchen chair. They were trying to have me declared incompetent. If they couldn't manipulate me, if they couldn't guilt me, they'd try to take away my autonomy entirely. "Ms. Mitchell," I said, keeping my voice as steady as I could, "I can assure you that I am of completely sound mind. In fact, I believe this call is part of a harassment campaign by my son and daughter-in-law, who have been financially exploiting me for years. There was a pause. Mrs. Patterson, these are serious allegations on both sides. Would you be willing to meet with me in person? I'd like to assess the situation myself. Yes. When? Would tomorrow morning work around 10? That's fine, and Ms. Mitchell, I'll have my attorney present. After I hung up, I called Rebecca. She was furious, but not surprised. This is textbook, she said. When exploitation victims fight back, this is the next move. If they can get you declared incompetent, Andre could potentially get power of attorney and access to everything. She paused. Keisha, we document everything tomorrow. Every single piece of evidence. We show them exactly who you are, a strong, competent woman protecting herself from abuse. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, Duke the dog snoring at my feet, and wondered, how did I get here? How did the little boy who used to hold my hand crossing the street become someone trying to destroy me? Sarah Mitchell arrived at exactly 10 a.m. on Tuesday. She was a black woman in her 40s with natural hair and a kind but professional demeanor. Rebecca was already seated at my kitchen table, briefcase open ready. Mrs. Patterson, thank you for meeting with me, Sarah began. As I mentioned, this isn't adversarial. Our only goal is to ensure your safety and well-being. For the next 45 minutes, Sarah asked questions about my daily routine, my finances, my health, my mental state. I answered each one calmly, specifically providing documentation when relevant. You seem very organized, Sarah observed, looking at the neat folders of bank statements, medical records, and legal documents I'd prepared. I was a nurse for 40 years at Cincinnati General, I said. Organization was part of my job. Can you tell me about your relationship with your son? This was it, the moment of truth. I took a breath and told her everything. Not emotionally, not defensively, but factually. The pattern of financial requests, the bank account monitoring, the fraudulent credit cards, the text messages admitting they'd kept me around for money, the APS call as retaliation for protecting myself. Sarah's expression grew more serious as I spoke. When I finished, she turned to Rebecca. And you're representing Mrs. Patterson in what capacity? Elder law, Rebecca said. Mrs. Patterson came to me 5 weeks ago after recognizing a pattern of financial exploitation. We've been working together to protect her assets and well-being, including filing a police report regarding identity theft. Sarah nodded slowly, making notes. Then she looked directly at me. Mrs. Patterson, I'm going to be frank with you. In my professional opinion, you are clearly of sound mind. You're articulate, organized, and have taken appropriate legal steps to protect yourself from what does appear to be exploitation. She paused. However, I am obligated to complete a full investigation. That means I need to interview your son as well. I understand. I should warn you, this may escalate the situation. When people realize their manipulation isn't working, they sometimes become more desperate. It's already escalated, I said quietly. I'm just finally fighting back. Sarah left after promising to complete her report within 2 weeks. As the door closed behind her, Rebecca turned to me. You were perfect. Professional, clear, credible. But Keisha? She hesitated. She's right. They're going to know the APS call didn't work, and cornered animals are dangerous. She was right. That evening my phone rang. Jasmine calling from Andre's number. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was chilling. You called social services on us. Are you kidding me? You're trying to make us look bad, you pathetic, vindictive bitch. You just declared war, and trust me, Betty. She called me Betty. She didn't even know my name was Keisha. You're going to lose. We know things about you. We have emails, texts, proof that you're a manipulative narcissist who uses money to control people. Everyone's going to know what kind of person you really are. Your precious reputation. Your little book club friends gone. We're going to destroy you. I saved the voicemail and forwarded it to both Rebecca and Sarah Mitchell. Rebecca's response was immediate. Forward this to Detective Morris, too. This is harassment and potential witness intimidation. This helps your case tremendously. 3 days later, Sarah called with her conclusion. Mrs. Patterson, I've completed my investigation. I'm filing a report that finds no evidence of cognitive decline or need for intervention. You are clearly capable of managing your own affairs. She paused. However, I am also filing a separate report documenting apparent financial exploitation and harassment. This will be forwarded to law enforcement. Thank you, I whispered. Mrs. Patterson, your son and his wife are very angry. Please be careful. I promised I would be, but I wasn't afraid anymore. I was ready. The call came on a Wednesday morning in late September, 6 weeks after I'd filed the police report. Rebecca's voice was tense. Keisha, Andre, and Jasmine were arrested last night. I sat down slowly. For the credit cards? For the credit cards. And more. Rebecca took a breath. Keisha, the investigation found additional victims. Jasmine's own mother, who she's estranged from, had $30,000 stolen from her 2 years ago. Your sister Diane had fraudulent charges totaling $12,000 that she'd written off as identity theft but never reported. There's even a former landlord whose information was used to secure a car loan. My head was spinning. How many people? At least 6 that they've identified so far. The total is over 180,000. I felt like I couldn't breathe. There's something else you need to know, Rebecca continued. When the police seized Andre's laptop, they found emails between him and Jasmine. Keisha, they've been planning this for at least 2 years. Planning what? I'm going to forward you some of the emails. They're part of public record now. You need to see them. 5 minutes later, I was reading words that broke something inside me I didn't even know could still break. Email from Jasmine to Andre, June 2022. Your mom's pension hits on the 3rd. We need $5,000 for the Vegas trip. Time to call her. Use the medical emergency excuse worked last time. She never even asked for receipts, LOL. Andre's response. I feel like shit doing this. Jasmine. Don't. Your mom has more money than she needs. She's old and alone. We're actually giving her purpose. She likes feeling needed. Trust me, we're doing her a favor. Andre, I guess. Calling her now. Email from Andre to Jasmine, March 2023. Got $4,000 from Ma for car repairs. She didn't even question it. I think we can probably ask for more next time. Jasmine's response. See, I told you. Your guilt is stupid. She's your mother. She's supposed to help you. That's literally her job. Email from Jasmine to Andre, May 2023, 2 weeks before the Don't Call Me conversation. Your mom called 3 times today. She's getting clingy again. You need to set boundaries or she's going to start asking why we need so much money. Andre, I'll talk to her. Jasmine. No, you need to be harsh. Make her feel guilty for bothering you. Then she'll back off and won't question the next time we ask for money. Psychology 101, babe. I read that email 5 times. The phone call? The one that had shattered me. The one where Andre said, I'm tired of you and your constant needs. It had been calculated. Planned. A strategy to keep me off balance and compliant. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. Andre was being held in Hamilton County Justice Center bail set at $25,000. Jasmine was in a separate facility bail set at $50,000 because of her prior record. Neither could make bail. According to Rebecca, they were both facing multiple felony charges. Andre was looking at 3 to 5 years. Jasmine, with her prior conviction, was looking at 6 to 8. The prosecutor had contacted Rebecca. They wanted me to testify. I said yes. But 6 weeks after the arrest, before any trial date was set, I received a letter. Handwritten, 3 pages on yellow legal paper. Ma, I know you probably threw this away without reading it. I wouldn't blame you. But I'm writing it anyway because I need you to know I'm sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry for what I did. Sorry for who I became. I've been sitting in here for 6 weeks and I've had a lot of time to think. About you. About Dad leaving. About the kind of man I turned into. You asked me when was the last time I visited without needing something. I've been trying to remember. I can't. That's the truth that's killing me right now. Jasmine told me you were manipulative, that you used money to control me, that you made yourself a victim to make me feel guilty. And I believed her. Because it was easier than admitting what I was really doing. But sitting in here reading back through my own emails, seeing it all written out, Ma, I was the manipulator. Me, not you. You were right about something else. After Dad left, I was angry. At him for leaving, but also at you for staying, for needing me so much, for making me your whole world. I blamed you for being lonely instead of understanding that you were just a woman who'd been abandoned trying to raise a kid alone. And then I grew up and realized I could use that loneliness. You needed me so you'd give me anything. And I took and took and took. The credit cards, that was Jasmine's idea, but I knew about it, Ma. By the second one I knew, and I didn't stop it. I told myself we needed the money, that you had enough that you wouldn't miss it. I'm going to prison. Probably 4 years. And you know what, Good? Maybe I need it. Maybe I need to lose everything to understand what I had. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I deserve to ask. But I want you to know. You were a good mother. The best mother. You loved me so much it scared me sometimes. And instead of growing up to deserve that love, I exploited it. When I get out, if you never want to see me again, I'll understand. I'll respect it. But I hope someday somehow I can show you that I can be the man you always thought I was. I love you, Ma. I should have said that more. I should have shown it. I'm sorry. Your son Andre, I read it sitting at my kitchen table, tears streaming down my face. Dorothy was there. She didn't say anything, just held my hand. What do I do? I whispered. What do you need, Keisha? Not what he needs. What do you need? I thought about that for a long time. My kitchen was full of laughter. Gloria, Patricia, Helen, and Rose from book club were here along with Dorothy. We were celebrating I'd just gotten back from Maine, the trip I'd been planning for a year. Tell us about the lobster, Rose demanded. I smiled, pulling out my phone to show pictures. Best meal of my life, and I ate it watching the sunrise over the Atlantic. My house felt different now, full. Not of things, but of life. Duke was curled up in his bed in the corner, gray around the muzzle, but content. I'd officially adopted him 6 months ago. My bank account had $23,000 in savings, more than I'd had in 10 years. I'd started a painting class at the community center. My watercolors were terrible, but I loved them. And I'd started dating. Floyd, a retired teacher I'd met at the library. We took it slow. He'd never once asked me for money. My phone buzzed. Email notification. Sender Andre Patterson via JPay prison email. Subject parole review. My heart rate picked up, but not with panic. With something else. Curiosity, maybe. Or hope. I opened it. Ma, I'm up for parole review next month. I've completed 2 vocational certificate programs, one in HVAC repair, one in carpentry. Mr. Johnson from church, remember him, has offered me a job at his construction company when I get out. I'm not asking for anything. Not money. Not help. Not even forgiveness yet. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. Every day I'm trying to become someone different. Someone better. My therapist here, yes, I'm in therapy, asked me what I want most when I get out. I told her I want to have a conversation with my mother where I don't need anything from her. Where I just talk, like people do. Is that possible? Someday. Can I call you this Sunday at 2 p.m.? Love, Andre. The women around my table had grown quiet, watching me. What is it, honey? Dorothy asked softly. I looked up at these women, my chosen family, the ones who'd held me together when I was falling apart. My son wants to talk, I said. What are you going to do? I thought about everything. The hurt, the betrayal, the money, the lies. But I also thought about the little boy who used to make me Mother's Day cards. The one who'd crawled into my bed during thunderstorms. The one I'd loved before I'd taught him the wrong lessons about what love looked like. I typed my response, Andre, Sunday at 2 p.m. I'll answer, but understand this. If we rebuild, it will be different. No money, no rescuing, no going back to old patterns. Just a mother and son learning to talk without transactions between us. I'm proud that you're trying. Keep trying. For yourself, not for me. I love you. I always have. But I love myself now too. And that has to be enough for both of us. Ma, I hit send. Then I looked around my kitchen at these women who'd taught me what real love looked like. Love that didn't come with price tags. Love that showed up without needing to be paid. Who wants pie? I asked, standing up. I made peach, and I'm not letting a single slice go to waste. As I cut slices and poured coffee, Duke waddled over and leaned against my leg. I reached down to pet him. Outside my window, the Cincinnati sun was setting, painting my kitchen in gold light. And for the first time in 35 years, I wasn't waiting for a phone call. I wasn't waiting to be needed. I was just living. And it felt like flying. Sunday at 2 p.m. my phone rang. I answered. Ma. Hi, baby. I don't really know what to say. That's okay. We can start with hello. There was a pause. Then, how are you? I'm good, Andre. Really good. How are you? Better. Different. Trying to be different. That's all anyone can do. We talked for 30 minutes about his classes, about my trip to Maine, about Duke the dog, about nothing and everything. He didn't ask for money. I didn't offer any. And for the first time in years, it felt like we were actually talking. When the call ended, I sat on my porch with a cup of tea and watched the evening settle over my neighborhood. My phone buzzed. Text from Dorothy. How did it go? It was a start, I typed back. Just a start. Because that's all it was. Not forgiveness yet. Not reconciliation. Just two people who'd hurt each other trying to find a new way forward. Maybe he'd fail. Maybe he'd fall back into old patterns. Maybe someday I'd have to close the door again. But today I'd opened it a crack. Not for him, for me. Because I'd learned something important over this past year. You can love someone and still protect yourself from them. You can hope for their redemption without sacrificing your own peace. You can be a mother without being a martyr. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for them and for yourself is to say no, and mean it.